Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Jill Valley. Dennis Bragg is off tonight. Protests continue at the University of Florida in Gainesville following a speech by part-time Whitefish resident and prominent white nationalist Richard Spencer today. Hundreds of law enforcement officers are also on campus. They are hoping to prevent a repeat of the deadly protest that took place in Charlottesville, Virginia. Hannah Doba is on campus with the latest.
Protesters took over the speech by white nationalist Richard Spencer, many cursing at him, holding their fist in the air and chanting. Most of Spencer's supporters occupied the front rows and cheered him as he tried to take control of the half-filled auditorium at the University of Florida. At one point, police held a man back from the stage, while others in riot gear readied themselves in the balconies.
You think that you shut me down? Well, you didn't. You actually even failed at your own game.
Spencer took some questions from the audience, but continued to be heckled. Outside the venue, hundreds of protesters gathered.
We don't want him here. We don't want to hear him speak.
Since he's here, we're going to be here too.
Spencer rented the space for a little less than $11,000, but security is costing Florida taxpayers $600,000.
Ahead of the event, the state of Florida declared a state of emergency to make sure they had enough law enforcement officials on hand to keep the peace and prevent the deadly protests that took place in Charlottesville, Virginia in August. Hannah Doba, CBS News, Gainesville, Florida.
A registered sex offender is facing new charges after being arrested this morning when Lake County Sheriff's officials arrested 49-year-old Scott David Curry of Big Fork on 3 counts of felony sexual assault on somebody under the age of 16. Lake County Undersheriff Ben Wood says a report was made to the sheriff's office on October 15th regarding allegations of sexual assault. Curry was arrested by deputies today following an investigation. He is now behind bars in Polson. Records show Curry was sentenced on 2 counts of sex with a minor back in 1994 in California. The Billings woman who admitted she beat and helped dismember her boyfriend 2 years ago will spend the next 40 years in prison. 41-year-old Carrie Stansoverbull was sentenced in Yellowstone County District Court this week. She pled guilty in July to the lesser charges of negligent homicide, assault, and tampering with evidence in connection with the death of her boyfriend, Jeffrey Hewitt. Investigators determined Hewitt was badly beaten by multiple people in Stansoverbull's apartment in Billings. Hewitt was left immobilized, suffering on a mattress for several days until he finally died. Authorities say Stansoverbull then asked her relatives to help destroy the body. They dismembered the victim and left him in a burn pile in Pryor, where he was found about a month later. Stansoverbull first denied any involvement, but later said she assaulted Hewitt because he abused her. Prosecutors say other people involved in this death could be charged in the future. Patrick Stansoverbull recently admitted he helped destroy evidence, including Hewitt's body. He will be sentenced in December. The wildfires kicked up by Tuesday's extreme wind in northwest Montana didn't see a whole lot of growth overnight. A local Type 3 team is managing the fires. The Deer Run fire near Foy's Lake is still about 40 acres, but 75% contained. Multiple engines, a 20-man hand crew, and heavy equipment allowed crews to get a good handle on this one. The DNRC is asking the public to stay out of the area. The Heron Park Trail is closed. It should reopen Saturday morning. The Lower Twin Fire on forest land north of McGregor Lake in the Meadow Peak area grew to 675 acres. It's 25% contained. A lot of people were working on that one too. They believe both fires were started by slash piles that were fanned by those high winds. A Type 3 management team will assume management of the fires and hand that over to the Kalispell unit of the Montana DNRC by this weekend. Well, turning now to weather, we do have some pretty big changes for the weekend. There's a cold front moving through that's going to change things quite a bit, isn't it, Erin?
Yes, big time. Tomorrow is going to be a lot different from what we're experiencing out there today. So if you haven't had a chance to enjoy the warmer temperatures that we're experiencing, do it. It will be very different this time tomorrow. Hamilton today, First Security Bank iCam. You can see a look at our satellite and radar. Definitely seeing the clouds out there today. I'd hoped for a little bit more sunshine, but temperatures have still been able to get well into the 60s, even a couple of low 70s sprinkled in the viewing area here and there. Now that again, all going to change tomorrow. We do have a second steadier stream of moisture expected Saturday afternoon into Monday morning. That could dump as much as an inch of rain on most valley locations in western Montana. More coming up.
12 Republicans and 12 Democrats have signed on to legislation that aims to shore up the Affordable Care Act and keep premiums from spiking next year. But despite the bipartisan support, it still faces an uphill challenge, with President Trump leading the resistance. Mola Lengi has more now from Capitol Hill.
We're here today to present to the Senate the agreement we recommend.
Republican Senator Lamar Alexander and Democratic colleague Patty Murray introduced a bipartisan bill Thursday that would stabilize Obamacare.
When members of Congress decide to get past our talking points and take a few steps out of our partisan corners, there is a lot we can agree on.
The plan attempts to stabilize the individual market by reinstating subsidies for insurance companies to bring down the cost of coverage for low-income Americans for 2 more years. The president has gone back and forth on whether he will support the legislation, but he also says the subsidies are a bailout for insurance companies.
I don't want the insurance companies making any more money because then they have to.
However, the subsidies don't actually end up padding the insurance companies' bottom lines. That money ends up covering the doctors, hospital, and lab expenses for the people who use Obamacare. Senator Alexander says without the subsidies, insurance premiums will spike.
Unless they're replaced with something else temporarily, there will be chaos in this country and millions of Americans will be hurt.
But despite the bipartisan support, there are those on both sides who say the bill is only a short-term fix.
I'm still looking at it. I have concerns about it. It's not ideal.
Republican leaders have not yet said whether they would support a vote on the Alexander Murray bill. Mola Lengi, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
2 Montana insurers on the healthcare marketplace have revised their 2018 rates. Pacific Source and the Montana Health Co-op revised their rates following the Trump administration's announcement ending cost-sharing reduction payments for some policies. Pacific Source's overall average rate will increase about 13%. The average rate increase for the co-op policies will be about 16.5%. The average rate increase for Blue Cross Blue Shield remains unchanged at 22.3%. According to a news release from the state auditor's office, the change only affects silver level plans on the health insurance exchange. Commissioner of Securities and Insurance Matt Rosendale also said all 3 insurers will remain in the marketplace. Teachers from around the state are switching roles and doing some learning of their own. For the Montana Educators Conference meeting that's going on right now, MTN's Don Fisher tells us what it offers for our state's educators.
Big Sky High School and C.S. Porter Middle School in Missoula played host to the conference this year, and teachers I spoke with say they get a ton out of it.
Everything just doesn't stay the same all the time in education. New tools, new techniques, it exposes them to classroom management skills, better ways to improve student education, students with special needs, pretty much in any area, at least specific to education.
More than 2,000 Montana teachers and paraprofessionals are spending 2 days this week fine-tuning their skills, while also learning about evolving resources and technology available to help student growth. Rose Keller is a school counselor in Anaconda. This is her 15th year in education, and despite her experience, she says she still gains plenty from attending these conferences.
You can get whatever you want out of it. There's lots of sectionals offered, from math to science to English, school counseling, behavior. So there's lots to be learned and lots of different vendors to pick up new materials, and no matter what you're teaching, no matter what your vocation in education is, there's something here for everyone.
The conference is put on by the MEA-MFT, Montana's Union for K-12 teachers and other public employees. Through the 2 days, teachers are able to get the professional development they need to renew their teaching licenses as required by state law. But Ryan says what's equally important is bouncing ideas off her peers.
So it's very beneficial, and you take those tactics and put them in your classroom, and you can see the growth in the students. At least the ones I've taken, they've been completely successful. It's been amazing, so I enjoy it a lot.
In Missoula, Don Fisher, MTN News.
The conference is put on with the help of volunteers made up of mostly local teachers who put in hundreds of hours to make this event run smoothly. Well, Christmas came early for a Billings trucking company that learned it has the honor to transport this year's festive Christmas tree to the nation's capital. Whitewood Transport will leave Eureka November 8th and make the more than 2,300-mile journey to the Capitol. The 70-foot-tall Capitol tree is in good hands, too. The driver is Larry Speakermeyer. He has traveled more than 1.5 million miles without an incident. The truck will make several stops along the way, which will allow people across the country to sign the wrapping on the tree. Whitewood owner Mike Wilson says it's an honor to transport the tree to D.C. Several Montana communities are making handmade ornaments that will be shipped to D.C. as well. The Rocky Mountain Ballet Theater in Missoula was chosen to accompany the tree. To celebrate that honor, the company has prepared special performances which dramatize the journey of this tree from the Kootenai National Forest to our nation's capital. The dances will debut in a free performance. You can see that at the Top Hat on Saturday, October 28th from noon to 2. The event is family friendly and it is open to the public. Well, still ahead here on Montana's news stations, the Good Housekeeping Awards are out for the best toys of the year. After the break, we'll find out what it takes to be named a top toy. And it's also time for another Thursday night pep rally. Derek Berkeley is live with the Big Sky Eagles ahead of their big matchup against Glacier.